Okay, we're on Shabbat, Perek Tet Zayin, Mishnah Chet, 8th Mishnah in the 16th chapter of Shabbat. We talked yesterday, or last Mishnah, I did it yesterday. We talked in the last Mishnah about Amira L'Nachri. We learned that Amira L'Nachri, here we are, is called a Shvut. It's Asur D'Rabbanan. The Chazal did not allow a person to ask a non-Jew to do Malacha for you on Shabbat. Let's look at the Rambam for a second. This is a Rambam in Chot Shabbat Perek Vav. The Rambam says, you're not allowed to tell a non-Jew to do a malacha, and that's what we learned in that Mishnah. Even though he is not commanded to rest on Shabbat. Even if I didn't tell the Nachri, the non-Jew, on Shabbat itself, I didn't say to him, go wash my laundry, but I told him on Friday or Thursday, I said, I want you to wash my laundry on Shabbat. Even though I don't need him to do the malacha, I need my laundry cleaned for Motzei Shabbat. So I say to him, hey, John, please make sure that the laundry is washed on Saturday, because I need it for Saturday night. Doesn't matter. Davar zeh isuro midivrei sofrim. It's asur midirabbanan. That's what we said. It's a shvut. Why? Kedei shelo tehei Shabbat kala be'einehem. Interesting. The Rambam says so that Shabbat should not be light in their eyes. V'yavo la'asot be'atzman. Because if I ask the non-Jew to do it, what's the difference if I ask him to do it or I'll do it myself? Now the Rambam adds another halacha that's relevant for our Mishnah on halacha bet. Let's say the non-Jew didn't do malacha for me, he did it for himself. He did it with, not that he didn't do it for me, he did it me'atzmo, on his own. He was not prompted, he was not asked. That's not Amira L'Nachri, but the non-Jew did it. If he did it for himself, for Yisrael, if he did it on behalf of a Jew, asur lehanot be'oto malacha motzei Shabbat. You're not allowed to be neheneh. You cannot benefit from that malacha until after Shabbat. V'yamtin b'kedei shetei aseh. Kedei shetei aseh is an interesting halachic terminology. The amount of time it would take him to do it to benefit from. So let's say he made scrambled eggs on Shabbat for the Jew. I didn't ask him, scrambled eggs, great. No, I have to wait the amount of time it would take to make scrambled eggs in order to eat the scrambled eggs. And it has to be shalom b'far hesya, not in public. Because maybe people will know. We're going to leave the farhasya on the side. What if he made it for himself? If the non-Jew made scrambled eggs for himself, and then the Jew says, the Jew says, he wants some? And then the mutar lahanot ba b'Shabbat, you can benefit. We're going to see this in this exact idea in our Mishnah. Let's look at the Mishnah. The Mishnah says the following. And this is it's one of my more favorite stories that I heard actually once. I think I'm almost sure it was the former chief rabbi of Israel, Rabbi Yisrael Meir Lau. If a non-Jew lights a candle, mishtamesh le'oro Yisrael, then a non-Jew can benefit from the light. But v'im bishvil Yisrael asur. If he did it on behalf of the Jew, if he lit it for the Jew, it's asur. I'm going to tell you a great story. And this is a cliffhanger for the end. Let's say he drew water in order to water his animals, then mashkeachav Yisrael. Then the Jew also can now take that water that he drew and also water his animals. But similarly, v'im bishvil Yisrael asur. But if he did it on behalf of the Jew, then it's prohibited. Asa goy keves le'reidbo. They're on a ship, and the non-Jew made a ramp. He made a ramp in order to get off the ship. Then you're reid acharav Yisrael. Okay. Then the Jew can also get off the ship. But v'im bishvil Yisrael, and if he did it on behalf of the Jew, then, and not for himself, then again, asur. That's what we learned, that he can't, then the non-Jew cannot benefit. Truth be told, I'm not entirely sure what's the malacha of putting the ramp, making the ramp, putting the ramp from the boat to the shore. If you know, email me. Okay. Ma'aseh, the Gemara tells a story. Ma'aseh, but this is not my story. Ma'aseh be'Rabban Gamliel uskenim shayu ba'am bisfina. So there was a story about Rabban Gamliel and the elders that were coming on a boat, and the boat landed obviously on Shabbat or Erev Shabbat, and they couldn't get off until Shabbat. V'asa goy kevesh, they raidbo, kevesh, not kevesh, kevesh. And the goy made a ramp, they raidbo, to get off the boat. V'yadubo Rabban Gamliel uskenim, and the Rabban Gamliel uskenim also went off the boat. They deboated, because obviously the goy did it for himself, so they were allowed to benefit as well. Now my story about Rabbi Yisrael Meir Lau. Hold on, let's get a picture of him if you can find it. I'm almost sure he told this story. So Rabbi Yisrael Meir Lau was once in YU, and he told us, he said, he was then the chief rabbi, and he said that he was in Toronto once. He was in Toronto, and he went to the house of a certain Gvir, and the Gvir, very wealthy man, wonderful house. He was staying for him, he was staying at his house for Shabbat. And so Rabbi Yisrael Meir Lau went, and this man had a personal library, and he walked into the library, but it was dark on Shabbat. And so the non-Jewish maid, we said it was 20 years before, the non-Jewish maid came and turned on the light, but she turned on the light for the rabbi. So he didn't want to insult her, but it was in Bishvil Yisrael, is in a first Mishnah. So he walked out. She was upset. What did she do wrong? And they explained to her, they didn't know what to do. They explained to her that since she turned on the light for him, therefore it was forbidden. He said, fast forward 20 years. He was in the same Gavir's house. 20 years later, the same maid was still working for them. So he was walking around. I don't know if she remembered him or didn't remember him, but she had learned the lesson. So he said that he was walking around the library, and she was clear that he wanted to look up something. It was in the dark. Maybe you could see there was a window or whatever. The maid walked in, turned on the light, took out a magazine, and sat down for 3 minutes, leafing through the magazine, and then she walked out. And he had such hana that this maid, he said, understood the idea of im bishur Yisrael asur, and she understood that it was mishtamesh, if she did it, nachrishi liket aner, she did it for herself. And so that she understood that in order for him to benefit, she first had to benefit. I think I always remember that story of Rabbi Yisrael Meir Lau, and it's a wonderful, beautiful yisum of halacha. If a person has, and this is something that's very common, they don't understand. First of all, Amir al-Nachri is a shvut. You cannot ask your non-Jew. And even if you hint to them, if you ask the non-Jew to do something, but not doing it for themselves, let's say you hint, you say, oh, it would be great if the light was off. Light off is not a problem. You're not benefiting. But if the non-Jew turns the light on for you, then you have to leave the room because you're not allowed to benefit from the malacha of a goy on Shabbat. That is the halacha on the Shulchan Aruch. If you have questions about it, ask your Orthodox rabbi. We'll stop here. Comments or questions, as always, please let me know. rspalter@gmail.com. We'll dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Harav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a great day.